Yo, what's a crack? In today's episode, I'm going to share the third and last part of my weekly training volume that is specifically laid out to target my chest. You're about to see the completion of 6 additional sets, thus making my weekly volume account for 17. 5 in the first session, 6 in the second, and 6 in the last one. I kick things off with the AD press on both the second and third day. This time around, however, I modified my technique in order to make the exercise harder despite the fact that I'm using a lighter load. By simply introducing a small pause at the bottom, I essentially remove the elastic assistance you get when muscles lengthen rapidly before changing direction. Thus, the variation you're watching right now is a self-limiting one that allows me to challenge the same primary muscle movers with less weight. Both my upper chest and shoulders have never looked better, and I need to give most of the credit for this muscle building progress to this gem of a lift, if I'm going to keep it real with y'all. In conclusion, the AD press is here to stay. Right after the opening set with a barbell, I proceed to set up an incline bench and grab a pair of dumbbells. The first set with these implements is performed at a 45-degree angle, a pattern that you might be able to identify in today's video if you compare it to the previous 2 pressing sessions is that in today's workout, I'm using a slightly higher repetition range. On the 2 previous workouts, I would typically aim to complete all straight sets within 6 to 8 reps in most of my stable compound lifts. But I also enjoy working within the 8 to 12 repetition ballpark, especially when using dumbbells or my own body weight, variations which inherently are a little bit more unstable and thus better suited for less intensity and higher repetition ranges. Upon resting for a few minutes, I proceed to lower the inclination of the bench to 30 degrees and I set out to repeat the whole thing all over again. Despite the slight variation in angles, the technique and principles I applied here are the exact same. The new angle, however, allows for a better alignment of the muscle fibers in the chest to contribute to the lift, so that means that I'm mechanically stronger now. If I'm using the same weight, I'm going to be able to do more repetitions. Here, I'm keeping a laser-focused concentration throughout my set and push it until I know for sure that I'm leaving no repetition in the tank. Once you're a bit more experienced, you should be able to know your body well enough to estimate your own effort level, which should be measured by how close you are to true muscular failure. And as you can clearly see, despite a grinding, slow sticking point, I still managed to push through and get the last one in the books. After the first 3 sets, I move on to the body weight equivalent of the bench press with dumbbells. Alongside weighted deficit push-ups, ring push-ups are my all-time favorite variation of this calisthenic staple. Today I'm performing each repetition with a controlled eccentric and a great deal of explosiveness on the way up. In terms of mind-muscle connection, ring push-ups are unbeatable for me. Given the freedom of movement the rings allow, not only can I feel a very gnarly stretch at the bottom, but also the whole transition up to the top where my arms converge into a powerful squeeze. For those of you open to try new things in your training, just give this one a go after you're done with your more staple heavy hitters of the day. I've seen people who could perform 30 plus regular push-ups in a row being absolutely humbled after 5 reps of ring push-ups. You put some weight into a backpack and then you just found yourself a lift that is likely to challenge you for many years to come. The second set of ring push-ups is going to be slightly different than the previous one. I'm going to take advantage of the setup in this movement to keep working beyond concentric failure. So once I can no longer overcome the resistance of my own body weight, I set out to perform the same number of repetitions but in a yielding capacity only. My muscles are too fatigued to complete the concentric phase of the lift, which requires a higher intensity, but I can continue to slowly control my way down on the descent. The setup of this exercise lends itself very well to implement advanced effort techniques for muscle building purposes like this one. When muscular failure is reached, you don't need to worry about weights crushing you, and you can safely exit the exercise by simply bringing your knees down onto the floor. From the exercise selection alone, you can tell that I seek to challenge the pectoralis in all angles. My long-term goal is to push my performance in both a handful of big compound lifts and isolation exercises I personally enjoy while I simultaneously gain weight. And given that traditionally my chest has been a relatively weak part in my overall physique, I'm currently trying out a new approach where I hit this muscle group more frequently, 3 times per week to be more precise. My short-term goal in each session, however, is not to absolutely destroy my chest with tons of volume, but rather to prioritize intensity of effort in all of the few sets I complete in each workout. And finally, I finish off the first half of this workout with a drop set of chest flies on a flat bench. As you can tell, I don't like to overcomplicate things when it comes to isolation exercises for the pectoralis. I simply resort to a classic movement that emphasizes the stretch of the muscle at the bottom of the range, where I spend most of my time. Once I can't lift the heaviest set of dumbbells, then I pick a lighter set right away and proceed to reach muscular failure again. Then I would repeat the process one more time with the lightest set of dumbbells I have around me. So this is essentially a straight set taken to muscular failure, followed by 2 mini sets with lighter loads that would allow me to squeeze in a couple of high-effort repetitions given how much muscular fatigue I've accumulated up to this point. So 6 sets in total, not much on paper, but highly stimulatory. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace, but war in training.